Yeah, welcome back to the Naija Filmmaker, a podcast for us to talk about Nigerian filmmakers, their films, and how we can build a diverse and functional industry. I'm your host, Selegot. On this episode, my guest is Chuks Oteke. He's a cinematographer and VFX artist. He's also the founder of Film Anatomy, the first film equipment manufacturing company in Nigeria. We talk about his filmmaking background, his vision for Film Anatomy, and the innovative solutions they provide. If you're a new listener, you're welcome and I hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Naija Filmmaker, Chuks.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me, though.
You're welcome. So can you introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Chuks Oteke. I'm from Delta State. Currently, I make film equipment locally. I also film. I shoot stuff. I am also a visual effects artist, and I basically play within the creative industry. So yeah, that's. Then I have a little, I have background knowledge of engineering and the like. So it was just natural for me to set up a manufacturing company that services the creative industry. So that's what I do.
Okay. Yeah, let's start with your filmmaking background. Can you tell us how you started filmmaking?
Originally, I wasn't a filmmaker. I didn't start as a filmmaker. I started off I actually studied dentistry in school, so I have a medical background.
Okay.
But while I was in school, I just loved the arts. Of course, everybody loves the arts and everything, So while I was in school, I was, doing, one or two things art related. I started off with music production, started buying sound systems, sound equipment, microphones, audio interfaces. Everybody owned a studio in their houses then.
Yeah.
So I started off with that. And I just wanted more, The end game, I actually knew the end game for me as young as I was. I knew what I wanted to do, which was very important to me. So venturing into the arts, I started as a music producer. Then I went on to learn video editing, Adobe, After Effects, Maya, the visual effects software.
Yeah.
So I started doing jobs, started handling, basic editing jobs for a couple of friends. And along the line, I now left the medical career. So after practicing for about a couple of years, I felt, let me just drop this thing and move to what I was really passionate about. I love dentistry. I love putting a smile on people's faces, but it just wasn't as fulfilling as the creative industry for me. So I decided to switch. So I started filming. That's about 7 years ago. Yeah, I started filming. I started, handling the camera. So everything just came natural. Did a couple of courses. Did apprenticeship for a couple of people to help me grow my skill, growing the skill of filmmaking. Yeah. And along the line, I discovered that it was just one thing to create content, to get the equipment to now create the content was not another problem. So that became a business case for me. And here we are now making film equipment.
Okay. As a cinematographer, what did you work on mostly? Was it music videos, films, or short films?
Okay, so I basically did more of corporate videos. So TV ads, corporate commercials, corporate events. So storytelling wasn't really like of course every content should have story, but storytelling wasn't really like the main thing for me then. It was basically about selling a product, advertising a business idea, creating content for, to market a product. So of course we had to create like a story for it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't I didn't play in the film space for a very long time, And when I mean film, I mean feature length movies, sitcoms, short films. I didn't play in that space for a while. And the thing about corporate events is you are constantly shooting ads. You're looking for the best equipment, because it wasn't really about the story. It was about the product you are selling or the brand you are pushing. So I later on started doing film. So I started editing and doing DPs for Nigerian movies. So the Nollywood space. But I think the bulk of the time I spent while handling the camera was done shooting corporate content, and of course music videos.
When did this dream start? Did you always think of making film equipment?
Okay, so I think we're talking about two dreams here: the dream of being a filmmaker and the dream of being a film equipment manufacturer.
Yeah.
So irrespective of whether I'm making film equipment or not, manufacturing is a business. So it doesn't matter whether you're making tissue paper, toilet roll, toothbrush, or a camera slider. It's manufacturing, so it's a business. And I was more of a creative person.
Yeah.
I didn't see it from a business side. I didn't see it from a business point. I wanted to just express my creativity, create content, and wow people. So the end game for me then was just to make content, make stuff. I want to make this, or I saw this on TV, I want to make it. I didn't think of it as a business. I never thought of this as a business, but I discovered along the line that actually making these things was also helping other people solve their own problems. So I was solving my own problems at first. Oh my God, I love the way this shot was taken. Let me just, put something together and just try to replicate this particular shot I see on TV or in a major Hollywood film. And while I was doing all of that, people now started getting interested. This thing you did to solve this problem of yours, I think it can solve my own problem. Okay, how much will I pay you to help me do this thing you did, which solved your problem? So I was like, wow, that's nice. So okay, so this can be a business for me. So it wasn't until like 2016 that I now made up my mind that I wanted to make it a business. It was a creative thing for me. I was making money shooting content, shooting music videos, shooting corporate videos. And when I now saw this to be a business, I decided to realign my dreams, to now go into manufacturing and create products and solutions that would service the creative industry. So where I am now, I now have a new dream. So the big dream for me now is to, create the biggest technical solutions provider for the creative industry in Africa. So in the space of 5 years, I'm hoping that by 2022, Film Anatomy, my company, should be like the biggest, technical solutions provider for the creative industry. So from set design to film equipment to props, to location setup to visual effects. It's huge now. But I now look at it from a business side. So I also have my business goals and I also have my creative goals.
Okay. Can you describe Film Anatomy? What equipment do you guys make?
Okay, so Film Anatomy is a manufacturing company that is servicing the creative industry in Africa, basically. So we make film equipment, basically. We create solutions for the film industry. Our equipment include camera cranes, sliders, dollies, robotic systems, bespoke lighting systems for music videos, for sets, for television production houses, wireless control systems, gimbals, basically robotics for film.
Yeah.
So we our slogan is actually low budget, no problem. So we discovered that a lot of people want to make great content. So they have really awesome stories, but they don't have technical, capacity to actually bring these stories to life. So we are trying to fill in that gap and make this high-end equipment that can be very expensive, very hard to find. We're trying to make them super affordable so that young African filmmakers can now get creative and also have the power now, or the capacity to now monetize their content, because the content is great, it increases the production value. That also increases its monetary value in the market. That's why Hollywood is where it is right now. It's not like the stories are so fascinating or so out of this world, but they have the technical capacity to actually make these seemingly simple stories look so wow, because of the high production value. So that's where we are trying to position ourselves, help Africa's content creators, low budget filmmakers, which actually make up like 90% of the filmmaking community generally, because who has the money to buy all of this equipment in the first place, So that large community of low budget filmmakers that are trying to just, make content, put it on YouTube, sell it to online distribution platforms, want to make film equipment for them. So like I said, dollies, sliders, jibs, cranes, wireless control systems like follow focus for your lenses, what else? Battery solutions, lighting systems. We're even working on a very awesome project, which is like an electric go-kart for filmmakers. Okay. So it's going to be like an all-in-one location kart, and it's going to be ridiculously super cheap. So it will be battery operated. It will have USB power solutions, up to 24 USB ports, so you can power virtually anything you're using on your set. Yeah. It's also be electric, so it will be driven by motors, so you can just like an electric car.
Yeah.
It will come with suspension systems. It will come with about 4 gimbal mounts. So basically, just create like an all-in-one location solution for the average filmmaker. So when you take like five when you are shooting somewhere in the beach or somewhere in one deserted forest, all you need to do is just drive your electric car. It has a battery solution where you can charge all your cameras, charge your drone, charge your gimbals. Yeah. So it's like, and it's going to be super cheap, because we're using locally sourced materials, and using these materials means that we can now bring the cost way down. We're not importing anything. We don't have any business with dollar, So we're bringing the cost way down so that everybody can afford these things. So many things are coming up. So many things are coming up in the technical space, in filmmaking. We're looking at in the next 5 years, like I said earlier, revolutionize the entire filmmaking space in Africa.
Yeah. I can't wait to get my hands on some of this stuff you're working on.
Very soon, bro. Very soon.
Yeah. Are there some peculiar challenges that are local to Nigeria that you're kind of pioneering, like some solutions in that regard?
Okay. So in terms of problems, Nigeria has a lot of problems, and I wouldn't want to talk about all of these problems. And of course, as a manufacturer, our major problem has always been access to finance, because you need money to buy raw materials to make stuff. So what we now do to mitigate this issue is we have now adopted high-end manufacturing technologies that are not expensive.
Okay.
So our manufacturing process, now involves a holistic. We look at it from a holistic approach, where we go from design to prototyping to final product.
Yeah.
So we adopt technologies like 3D printing. A 3D printer can, rapidly make a prototype of a product you're developing and give you test results right away. You don't need to take a long time to manufacture a particular type of design and, test it. If it doesn't work, you have to go back to the drawing board. No, we can just quickly design it in CAD, design our products in software, do some simulations in the software and see the kind of problems we'll face with this product before they are released. So instead of buying raw materials to test and confirm if something works, we just make the changes in our software. So to mitigate this really big problem of access to raw materials, finance, banks don't want to give you money, we just do everything within the computer, have the design ready, do our simulations. Then when we are sure of the product, we now use the little funds we have, to now get raw materials and now use advanced manufacturing techniques like 3D printing, CNC milling, basically technologies they use in the advanced world, only that ours is done in a very small scale, so we can now have a rapid prototype, go from design to prototyping to having a finished product in just a couple of days. then give to a couple of friends that we know that, can put these products through rigorous testing, real life applications, then get feedback from them. Change this, change that, change this. Of course, we don't spend so much in prototyping. So that means we can make these changes and have the product back into the market in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So these are some of the ways we, solve these problems. We also try a new technique, which I feel like I'm like the pioneer of that technique. So we use customer-based solutions provision. So what I mean by this is we ask the customer, or we ask intending customers, what would you like in a particular type of product? So if you already own a slider, that's functional for you, most customers will say, I wish it had this, I wish it had that. So we take all of this feedback, now design like a version 2.0. I always call it that every time I design. Create a very a different product from all of the feedback we're getting from customers.
Yeah.
And usually most customers want solutions that are cheaper for them. So they naturally would tell us things that they can afford. So that way we were able to make products that people already want. So it's not a matter of trying to market it to people. People already want this product because the customers actually gave us the ideas that we used to develop these products.
Yeah.
So that's another way we try to, mitigate so many numerous problems manufacturing business faces. So yeah, I think that those are the major ones for now.
Okay. With film equipment, like there are a lot of companies out there, and compatibility is always an issue. Are you looking to involve that in your design process? Because I guess people already own a lot of these foreign brands. Are you thinking of how all these kind of works together, the compatibility?
Okay, yes. So of course we are thinking about compatibility because that's the only way we can, enter the market. People already control we have products that are already in the market that people already own. So in order to be able to sell, you need your products to be compatible to what is already in the market. And the good thing about the creative industry is there is a term in the market we normally refer to as industry standard.
Yeah.
So for, let's say for tripods now, we all know there's the 71mm bowl head for tripods. Almost every tripod manufacturer now makes tripod that has that bowl. So your fluid head has a bowl that sits into that tripod. So you can use a fluid head from one company and use the legs for the tripod from another company. So these are standards that they have in the market. And if you want to make products that would sell, you need your products to be compatible with the standards. So we consider, like I said earlier, we use customer-based service solutions provision. So we consult the customer. Oh yeah, so I have a tripod head. I lost the base, or everybody buys a tripod, and the first thing they lose in a tripod is the camera base, the one you attach to the camera.
Yeah.
So how about we create a product line that makes only camera base for already existing tripods? So that way we can have returning customers. So people already invested about $100 on a tripod, and they just lose just that tiny base. So how about we just machine this base for them, put it on our website, and tell them this base is designed for so company's tripod. That way we have customers that constantly come to buy stuff from us. We don't make tripods yet, but we're also making money from the tripod industry.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to electronics, it might be very hard because a lot of companies are making electronic products. I mean, gimbals, drones, cameras. Electronics, there's a lot of patenting and, a lot of manufacturing secrets involved, a lot of unique, what do they call them again? I think is intellectual property.
Yeah.
There's a lot of IP, so we can't really break into these cameras and start making changes. So what we do is, instead of making brand new gimbals, we make camera support systems that are compatible with gimbals.
Yeah.
So your average gimbal has a remote control, and you want to stabilize the gimbal, we can make a stand for your gimbal. So you just buy our stand and put it on your gimbal. So instead of buying the regular gimbal stands that will come with your gimbal, which will be very expensive, you can just buy a cheaper one from us. So there's so many ways. And like I said, the industry is so big, it's so huge. Every day, every time we shoot, we discover new problems that need solving. So it's huge. It's really huge. But our design process is so efficient that we even do cloud design. So I have a couple of my colleagues are all around. We do design together. We design via cloud. You make changes. Oh, this is nice. Let's change it. Let's change this. And the next thing, the product is ready. So it is very, very compatible. That way we can collaborate and also even incorporate customer suggestions into our design process.
Yeah.
So for compatibility, I think we are very good. Cross-platform collaboration is like our key principle when we design.
Okay. How big is your team?
Okay, for now we are about 7, sorry. So we have a design team, we have the machining team, we have the protective gear, protective equipment, safety bags. So we also do a lot of what do they call it? Tailoring. So we do waterproof bags. So there's a team. Should I say team? About 2 people, that are on that. We have the design team. We have the manufacturing team. Then we have the business operations. So yeah, we are creatives, but we need some people to just supervise the business operations side and make everything corporate and orderly and organized. So it's a very small team, but as small as it is, super effective.
In order to scale and be able to meet the demand of the African market, how do you think government can contribute to what you're doing?
Oh yeah, that's a very good one. For me, normally I'm supposed to answer this question by saying government should sensitize the populace, create entrepreneurship centers, provide funding. But no, I'm not going to say all of that, because we've been saying this for forever. So personally, I see my customers as my investors.
Yeah.
That's the most viable approach for an economy like ours, where it seems to be so hard to get funds. So I look at my customer as not just a customer. As far as I'm concerned, I see my first customer as an investor and a returning customer as a partner. So the thing is, I am very comfortable. I used to be very comfortable, rather, taking part payment from a customer, using my own money to complete it, develop the product, have it ready. Then when I deliver, the customer pays me after testing it. I've always been very, very comfortable with that. Yeah. But like you said, when you were asking me this question, you said, of course, there will be a time where you need to scale, and meet a higher demand, Yeah. But we will still be faced with the same problem of finance. Because if you go to a bank and say you want money, even if you have been making so much money, it will still be hard to get money, because even the government is looking for money. Africa generally has that problem of money. So now my approach is, instead of looking for government intervention, I have decided to look at private equity. I've made up my mind to look at private equity, venture funds, international grants, look elsewhere to grow the business to the point where the government now gets involved or government now gets interested. So very soon I'm looking at opening my space for internship opportunities. I can now go and help the government, since it seems like the government is handicapped. They might not be able to help. Yeah. So let's go and help the government by, taking people off the streets, bringing them into our internship program, training them, doing all of that. Since apparently the government cannot help us, so somebody needs to help somebody. So private equity is super, it's should I say easy? It's very easy to get an investor. It's quite easy if you have a solution, and your solution is proven to be a real solution to a problem. You've identified a problem. You go online. I used to pitch a lot. I go for pitch events, pitch competitions. I pitch my ideas to people. You get private investor. The problem with that is, some of them might be asking for too much. So they want like 90% of your business and give you 10%. Some of them might say they want 40%. Some of them might say they want 60%. But it's just the price we have to pay to make sure that our business idea is out there.
Yeah.
So instead of looking for grants and running to the government to get funding, the only thing I think we should expect from them is, like you said, enabling economy. We want an economy where businesses can thrive. So I can start up a business. I'm not paying so much in taxes. I can, get tax relief from the government. I can get tiny grants to help me, stay afloat in business. So that might just be the one or two things that we need from the government. But I think it's now is the time for young people to start thinking of this from a different point of view. Since the government cannot help us, let us help the government. The government is actually us in the first place. So we're helping ourselves, So private equity, super important. Then the first thing I said earlier, which was, seeing your customer as now your investor. So I introduce a product to somebody. I can make this for you to help you do this. And the customer is like, I can't trust you totally. How much do you want for this product? I said, I say I want to be like 50K. And the customer says, let me give you 25,000 naira. So that's investment, plus it's giving you money to build a product.
Yeah.
Look for the 25,000 naira you're asking for from me and get the product done. When you bring it and I test it and it works, I'll pay you your balance. So that's another way to look at it. But generally, I feel like Africa is going places. Entrepreneurs in Africa, we're taking over. If you look at the fintech space, there's a lot of progress in the fintech space. And because of that progress, the government is now so interested. Banks are now investing in fintech ideas. Government opportunities, funding opportunities are coming from the government for fintech space. But some people made that sacrifice to make fintech as attractive as it is right now.
Yeah.
Some people did private equity. Some people did investor, self-funded business, family and friends. Some people took that risk to make people see that there's real money in fintech. So I think that I am personally, and maybe a couple of friends I probably don't know, in this creative industry, we are pioneering that revolution where we are putting filmmaking and the creative industry in the eyes of people, telling them that you can make money from this. So if you look at cinemas are doing well now. The government is interested in cinemas, even creative content. People are making films now. So the government is like, wow, so there's money in this industry. We didn't know. Of course, some people actually made that happen. Yeah. Some people sacrificed a lot to make this industry, get to the point where the government is now interested in it. So I feel like it's not something we can talk about in just one podcast. So when it comes to funding, government intervention, enabling economy, government policies, that's a very big topic, very, very big topic. Yeah. I don't know if I was able to even help explain a little. I don't know.
I think you did. And in order to make a bigger splash, what you did was great. Like you have the first mover advantage into this film equipment manufacturing space in Nigeria. What other opportunities are there that, let's say, film anatomy are not primarily focused on, that other people can, take advantage of? Because, in order to, I guess, get bigger attention, you need other players to make a bigger splash. So what do you think are some of these other opportunities?
Okay, so opportunities, very, 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 there's so much, huge opportunities. I would speak about 4. So in terms of technical support for the film industry, if you look at it critically, every form of business needs some form of video to advertise. Any business. So whether you are into cement manufacturing, you're into agriculture, you're into healthcare, you cannot advertise your business with some form of creative content. So photography, videography, you need video to actually tell your story better and sell your product.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, the creative industry is actually needed in every sector. So let's say you are into, I'm particular about real estate. You're into real estate, you run a real estate business and you want to advertise your land. the customer is somewhere in the UK and wants to buy a land in Nigeria. The only way the customer can see this property is through the use of video, or some form of or photographs. But of course, video is more convincing than photographs. So you now need equipment to acquire this video to now before you can take this video to your customer, then he now gets interested to buy your product.
Yeah.
So we are looking at the real estate space specifically because it's like one of the biggest, money making sectors now. So real estate is so huge. We want to connect the entire world by having drones and electric cars, remote control gimbal cars, drive around properties, inspect properties, create 3D maps of 3D visual maps of these properties. They send it to your customers in the US and the UK. They can now, or your clients in the US and the UK, they can now, visualize the product, visualize the space. So I'm using space in place of product. You visualize the space they want to buy in 3D. And they don't have to be there physically to see this land or this piece of property that they want to buy. So with the gimbal cars that we're developing, it has a 3D mapping camera on it. So it just drives around, goes to the room, goes to the parlor. If it's a piece of land, drives around it, take pictures and creates a virtual VR should I say scenery of that particular property so that the customer can now visualize it in 3D space. Now, this solution is now going to be marketed for real estate companies, to real estate companies.
Yeah.
We can now tell real estate companies that you can sell your product better instead of taking pictures, and doing a 1-minute drone footage of the property. You can now show your customer in real time the 3D view of the property. So that's one way we are collaborating with the real estate space. Another space that is very particular to us is the educational sector.
Okay.
Yes, the same way video is super important in real estate, the same way video and photography is super important in education. So we are teaching somebody how to, maybe let's say in the health medical schools, you're teaching somebody how to perform a particular type of surgery, a very, very delicate type of surgery. You can show this student how to perform this surgery by basically playing a video of a successful surgery that was done. So there again, you see the relevance of video. Yeah. So how about we create so I'm just thinking, how I think about my solution. So how about I create a means where a robot can actually hold a tiny microscopic camera, go into a particular organ in the body, get video feed, get live video feed, and transmit it to like a really big screen somewhere in the class where like we have like 90 students, or 50 students actively, involved in the surgery process in real time. And guess what? They don't have to be in the same hall where the surgery is being done. They could be somewhere in the UK and the surgery is being performed somewhere in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So the educational system the educational sector is another really, really, really important space that we're going to play in. So we're going to, package all of these solutions and suggest them to schools, higher institutions, technical colleges, the government in general, suggest it to them, pitch it to them and see if they buy the idea. So that's another way we're collaborating with them. Yeah. And, to digress a little, within the educational sector, film schools also need equipment to teach their students.
Yeah.
So you can't be seeing the diagram of a crane in a book and expect to learn how to use a crane by just looking at the diagram. You need to interact with the crane. So we donate some of our equipment to educational facilities for free, so they train their students. In return, we can just have maybe a couple of them come into our space and do internship for free. So everybody's learning, everybody's benefiting from everybody. We are collaborating, the economy is growing. So there's so many other spaces. We are looking at branching out to aviation. That's another topic for another day. We are branching out to agriculture. So we want to use video to actually plant crops. So we want to create like a very, very intuitive system where there is robots using video to monitor growth patterns in plants.
Yeah.
So the way we plant beans on Monday, it doesn't look the way it look on Monday will be different from the way it looks on Friday. So these cameras will now take this video together, cross-reference them, take the differences from this video, and create a recommendation for watering, sunlight, and all of the things that the plant needs by just evaluating video from two different times.
Yeah.
So there's so much. There's so much. I can't really talk about all of them now, but we are looking for partners within all of these, sectors I mentioned earlier, where we can now bring in our video solutions and grow.
Something that happens, like I guess in Hollywood, there's an Academy Award for technical achievement. You think it's something we should be exploring here? I mean, you've basically created that possibility, because then we have like a homegrown company that does that, and you're pioneering kind of new solutions. I think it's something that we can explore, having like either AMA or the other awards kind of creating this category.
Exactly. That's cool. I always think about it sometimes. Like one day, me and my team, probably not me, maybe my CEO then would, take one of these awards, for achievements in the technical space, in the creative industry. I think about these things too. But Africa's film industry, Africa's creative industry is quite different. It's not like the way the Hollywood have designed theirs. We need to create awareness that we are here.
Yeah.
So the best approach for me would be to do something like a CES, Consumer Electronics Summit, something they do it in the US every year, or an NAB show. So create like a festival that celebrates only technical solutions.
Yeah.
So we can have prop designers, we can have set designers, we can have lighting guys, we can have stage designers, we can have robotics guys like us. So we just celebrate us by us. So by the time we do this, maybe like 4, 5, 6 years, I'm sure that we'll now create that awareness where we can now have award ceremonies organized by other people that will celebrate us. But if we within us don't celebrate us, I mean, nobody knows us now. Nobody knows us. But I mean, the NAB is like the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters show. They do it in the US every year. It's like the biggest gathering of technical support guys in the film industry. Canon is there, Nikon is there, DJI comes around, so everybody, even iPhone, sometimes they launch some products at the NAB. So it's huge, it's big, and it celebrates only the technical guys. So if we can start something like that, I'm still talking to a couple of friends I know place in the industry, then let's start something like an NAB or like a CES, something small, run it for like a couple of years, talk to, when we, maybe after the maiden edition, we take our numbers, take it to a bank, see they'll be interested, we grow it to the point where everybody out there will now start celebrating us. So I think that's like the best approach to what you suggested. But great. I want to be celebrated, sincerely. I really want to pick an award for this. So that's it.
Definitely. What's the appetite for made in Nigeria equipment right now?
I don't even know where to start from. Sincerely, nobody wants anything made in Nigeria because we already have a mental picture that anything made in Nigeria doesn't work. It's not good. It's not strong. It's fake.
Yeah.
But one approach I use, as a technical solutions provider, is to make it way cheaper. So I purposely use the word cheaper as opposed to using the word affordable.
Yeah.
Because there's this mental psyche when you say something is cheap, people feel it is fake. When you say it's affordable, they are like, okay, yeah, it's good, but it's just, easier to buy,
Yeah.
So I purposely I purposely make some of these things very, very affordable. And sometimes I even can be so hard, so I don't do it because of profit sometimes. I just do it because I want it to work. And sometimes I can go as far as giving a customer to use it before they pay it.
Yeah.
So they know these things are made in Nigeria. They expect it to fail, but it now doesn't fail.
Yeah.
But because they already have the mentality that these products will fail, you need to find a way to prove to them that it doesn't fail. So these are the ways I try my best to. Then another approach that I've been trying for a couple of years, and I see that it works, is involving the customers in the process of manufacturing. So if you are making a shoe, most times why they feel these things are fake is because they don't really know what is inside. They don't know the stress involved in making these things. You don't do any quality testing. You don't do any quality control for them. They don't see. They just see a shoe. But the way the guys over there, the guys overseas do their products is they show you the manufacturing products. You see the big machines they use. You see all of the things they put it through some tests. It reassures you that this particular product is strong. But in Nigeria, we don't have that luxury. So I try my best. If you go to Film Anatomy Instagram page, sometimes you see us post videos of our machining process. Yeah. We post how the things are being cut, how we put them together. We do test shoots within the factory. So that this thing is actually made here. They're seeing the process. It has a way of making them believe more that this product actually does what it says it does.
Yeah.
So a combination of all of these three things I mentioned. One, making your products very affordable. Two, giving the customers before they even pay you. And three, making them see the process of you making these products. Over the years, it has, a lot of people have gained confidence in me. So that I think that was, but generally, it's a very big problem that we need to really tackle. My own solutions might not work for some other industry. It might only work in my own space, but it's really, really hard. Even I myself, I'm still researching to find out more ways that we can sensitize Nigerians to believe made in Nigeria is actually made in Nigeria. And one interesting thing about this case is, before the coronavirus thing, before the lockdowns, I was having maybe two orders per month for my sliders, or maybe one per month.
Yeah.
But after the coronavirus thing, hey Jesus, inquiries started coming in. How much? How can we ship it to? How can we get it down? Shipped to Abuja? How can we get it to Port Harcourt? How can we get it to Benin? Because that dependence on China. A lot of people started getting scared because they suddenly started feeling like if I buy something from China now, I might probably just contract the coronavirus. Let me just manage the one that's in Nigeria, Jerry. So it wasn't so much of it. Yeah, of course, the pandemic affected a lot of businesses, but it made a lot of Nigerians also see that there are opportunities in Nigeria, within Nigeria. I remember when the COVID-19 thing started and everybody was still in lockdown, we started using our printers to make face masks and face shields, 3D printed face masks, 3D printed face shields. So at some point, we would sell a slider and give you a face shield, so you don't get infected while you're shooting with our sliders. So opportunities started coming up after the lockdown. A lot of homegrown businesses started getting recognition. People started noticing them. So I've been seeing you've been probably seeing that business for a long time, but because of the lockdown, let me just contact that guy. I think he makes sliders. It's not like you don't know that I make sliders, but because there's no way there's no how you can go to China now to buy a slider. You have to just call Chuks and just get the one that he says is, selling.
Yeah.
So as we learn to be more dependent in our economy, to be more self-sufficient and self-reliant, I'm sure these problems will, slowly fade away.
Yeah. And with regard to that, do you guys do, can people visit your design garage?
Yeah. So we have a day, we call that day the garage open day. So, but because of the COVID protocol in Lagos now, we are trying to be careful. How we allow people come in. But we can, set something up. You come in. We're supposed to be like doing it every week. Every Friday, the garage is open. You come and interact with our 3D printers. We can make one or two, souvenirs for you, 3D printed objects. You can even interact with our big machines. It's not a big space. It's not so big. It's not like a big factory. It's a small, tiny workshop where creative people just come together and make stuff. So from next year, by the grace of God, we'll implement our Garage Day program where every Friday the garage will open from 12 noon till 7 p.m.
Okay.
Where a maximum of 5 people can come in, interact with the technologies, make some design inputs, tell us what you want, we can make them for you, and all, just to create awareness that we are here. Actually, we are here to stay, we're here to solve your problems, we are here to, take over the creative industry in Africa.
Okay. That's nice. So, I've talked about lots of things, and you have this unique perspective as a filmmaker, and also like somebody that makes like solutions for filmmaking. And what is the priority item that you think we need to improve or change for this industry to keep growing and keep getting better?
Okay, so I won't talk much about the technicalities of film, because I feel like the technicalities, it's a small problem. I mean, if we solve the major problems, these ones will just naturally be solved by themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to understand, those of us that play in that space, in creative industries, producers, directors, cameramen, we need to understand that production value is not just about the actors. So the fact that I have like a big actor in my film, that's not the only thing that will make that should make that film sell. Your type of equipment, your storytelling technique, your screenwriting, your set design, your props, your cinematography, all of these things come together to add production value. So it's not just about churning out large quantity of film. That doesn't translate directly to huge revenue. Not just about making movies every week and making. No, we can make one movie, just one. Look at Hollywood. Look at the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I feel like this is one of the most successful franchises in the entire Hollywood ever.
Yeah.
So they make one movie, just one. So let's say if they make a Captain America, Winter Soldier, and the entire cinemas around the world will be shut down because of just that one movie. They don't release a movie the next week. They don't release a movie the next month. They don't release a movie the next year. Maybe 2-3 years later, they release a prequel or a sequel to that particular movie, The Winter Soldier. They call it Captain America Civil War. And before they release that movie, everybody's already anticipating. Oh my God, they begin to release snippets. They begin to release BTSs. You see how they use the cameras, how they use all those technical equipment, those robots to take the shots. Then they now do a big release. The next thing you hear, they churn in $1 billion in 1 week. So it's not just about the number of what do they call it? Number of movies you release every week or every month. If we start to look at it from that perspective and understand that the production value of your film is huge, you need to consider a lot of factors. I think the production quality of our movies start getting better. I cannot remember. I wanted to point out one experience I had, but I can't remember when it happened. But I think there was a movie I was supposed to be part of in 2018. And there was a huge argument about whether we needed a set designer or not.
Yeah.
Because the producer wanted to just go to an already made house and just shoot. But set design was super important because we needed set design to tell the story better. We needed set design to set the mood. We needed set design to determine what the lighting guys would bring to a particular scene. So the set designing, the lighting setup, the props, the makeup, the special effects, the visual effects, so it's huge. And if we don't see the movie industry as that one huge giant system where every component or every unit it's important to create a big working industry. It's going to be super hard. So I don't want to talk about the technical side. Say, okay, instead of having a dolly shot, let's have a crane shot to help tell the story better. Let's not talk about all of this. Let's talk about the bigger problems, the financing. So the average producer gives you probably 5 million to shoot an Hollywood movie, or an executive producer gives you 5 million to shoot an Hollywood movie, and they want 10 million back in the next week. So how are you going to do that? You need to find your story, find your actors, find everybody that week, shoot that week, release the movie that week, so that you can start looking at how to raise 10 million naira. So there's supposed to be. We need a lot of sensitization. We need a lot of training. We need to go back to film school, train people. Even the seemingly successful actors need to go back and understand what screenwriting is, what blocking is, what characterization is. Cinematographers that claimed, people like us that just picked up the camera and learned how to handle the camera, need to go back to school, learn about cinematography language, learn about how to tell better stories, learn about blocking, so many things. We need to go back to school, basically. We need to go back to the drawing board, build the industry from ground up, so that the huge number of movies we churn out every day or every week will now directly translate to huge revenue. So that's my take on this topic.
So how can people keep up with Film Anatomy and what you guys are doing?
Oh, yeah, thank you. So you can reach us on Instagram. We're very active on Instagram at Film Anatomy, FILMANATOMIE. So it's not anatomy like MY, it's TOMIE, Film Anatomy. You can also reach us on Facebook, or you can visit our website, and see all the exciting products we have. Is www.filmanatomy.com, filmanatomymie.com. So you can, we are very active on Instagram. We put a lot of content out, production, tips and tricks. Once in a while, we have people, industry players that come in, talk about filmmaking, mobile cinematography, filmmaking, talk about regular filmmaking, talk about a lot of stuff on our Instagram. So we're also on Facebook. You can connect with us, send us a DM, or you could just, go to the website and interact with all of the content we have there.
Okay. And if people have some solutions, they can always kind of talk with you guys, and you see how to bring
exactly. Yeah. We are very open about it. So if you give us an idea, give us this is something you're thinking of solving, and you feel like this idea will work, we share it with the entire community on our Instagram. Everybody puts input. Oh, let's change this, let's change that. When we make this product, it becomes everybody's own. I mean, it's for Africa, so we are supposed to collaborate to take Africa to the next level. So that's the kind of business model we want to operate, a very collaborative one where everybody owns the company. So that's a very, very nice approach. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuks, for coming on the podcast, and I can't wait to get my hands on my slider.
Don't worry, you get it by Saturday, hopefully.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
We have come to the end of this episode. Please remember to leave a rating and a review. You can send your questions and feedback on social media. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SelectGovFilm, and the podcast also on Instagram and Twitter at the Naija Film Pod. See you on the next episode. Have a good one.